Now we can stop
Yeah.
talking.
Sorry. For the first time, there's birds outside my window on the tree that has no leaves because of the freeze. So, just like Valentine's Day, I'm just thinking about why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near. I don't need Lance to be any more in love with me though, so I'll stop singing that song.
Mhm.
Um,
Right though.
hmm
I love that song.
It is great. Lance, as a
Oh.
music connoisseur, how do you feel about that song?
I like it in a horror movie for sure, especially when people are being murdered in the background. You know what I
To
mean?
the
Like,
Carpenters?
I don't know. He's the only one here that's seen Hard Eyes, so maybe he's giving us a hint.
am I? Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not.
And see,
Guess what?
when I think about that movie and that song in a movie, I think about There's Something About Mary when he zips his wiener up. Was that the Something About Mary?
It feels like it would be, wouldn't it? Like
Is
it
it Ben
does. Like,
Stiller zips his zipper over his wiener or balls,
oh
whatever it was?
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
remember. It's a long time ago.
Does
But
that
anyways,
happen? Does that really happen?
no, you would if that happened, your skin would rip open because your ball skin is very thin.
Also, you have to be free balling to have that actually happen to you, because you have your underwear in the way of that scenario.
Well, I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it. Was it his balls or was it his stick? His stick or his berries?
I can't
Well,
remember.
the crazy part was is somehow the head of his dick was underneath, so he somehow got the top part of his balls and
Ah!
the bottom part at the same time with it in the between. So like that was like because when they show the picture of it, you know what I mean, when you see the
Yeah,
like the little
the
you're like
flash.
ow.
Well, wait, what do you mean? What do yours look like? I'm just kidding. Okay, everybody, welcome to Love Bites February. It is February, finally. Fuck January. And we are here
Mhm.
to bring to you movies that have a little bit of love, have a little bit of bite to them. But before we begin, everybody, how's it going?
It is going well.
Yeah.
Can you hear the TV?
No,
I
Okay,
think
good.
so.
shut up, Lance. No, okay, cool. Lance, how are you things going with you?
Good, good, good. As you know, and maybe if you haven't already seen on our YouTube or caught our Instagram, we or I guess, went to go see a sneak peek of Hard Eyes, and I got to see the whole movie. Obviously, not a sneak peek just for me, but the whole thing. Sneak peek for all of you for my review of it. Which hopefully all of us will get to check it out. Coming out, was it January 7th
It's out already.
or February 7th? February 7th. Sorry. Um,
No, it's
No, I thought it came out the
it comes out
7th. Is
February
it?
7th. Yeah.
hold the phone. Oh, actually, you're right. I don't know why. Okay, so this is what I hate. Movie theater people who make websites, listen to me. When I go look for showtimes for a movie, I don't need the first thing to pop up to be showtimes for the first day, and in the little corner it says what day it is. I need to know today. Because when I was
Yeah.
looking
Mhm.
at movie tickets, it was like, oh, 7 p.m., 10 p.m. But I realized it's probably showing me for the Thursday before, which, by the way, if you're going to release it on Thursday, say Thursday.
Yeah, I don't understand that because it's like it comes out Friday, but you're gonna have the early release this Thursday. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. First of all, the sneak peek was on a Thursday. And our good buddy, our sommelier, Sean Flynn, give him a follow there on Instagram, was so gracious enough to give us the passes. And I was like, oh, Lance has nothing to do.
Nothing to do. I have plenty to do, which is go see Hard Eyes for all
Yeah,
of you. Give you a prequel to the idea of what it's about, and the rest of us will see it and we'll talk about it more so from there. But until then,
yeah.
enjoy my little sneak peek.
I think we can say we're going to review Hard Eyes, everybody. Because what I did want to start doing, I think it'd be cute. The beginning of the month. You remember how when you were young, well, Aid and I were young. Lance, you were like, who knows? But like when you would watch TV on those boob tubes, and it'd be like tonight's schedule, and it would have like cheesy music, and it's like a blue background with like white font, like real old school looking, and it tells you what was on the schedule for that night. I wanted to do
Yeah.
something like that for the month, be like the movies that we're reviewing that month, so that way if people wanted to catch up with whatever we're reviewing or like prepare, like oh they're gonna do Hard Eyes, let's watch it the day it comes out, something like that. It'd be fun and be an excuse to post.
Yeah. And Hard Eyes should actually will premiere on the 17th, President's Day. So if you guys are wanting to go see that and watch before you listen, because I'm sure we'll have spoilers, just be sure to tune in at that point.
Mm-hmm. It'll
Hmm.
be fun. I'm excited. Lance, keep your mouth shut. But it looks very much just like a, how we liked that Thanksgiving was like a 80s slasher, like it gave you those vibes. I think that's what Hard Eyes is gonna do. So maybe a little bit less because I think there is more technology in it than Thanksgiving used, but it looks fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Lance had some opinions. So if you want to check out those opinions, you can follow us on TikTok or on Instagram and see his 1 minute spoiler-free review or his thoughts of Hard Eyes. So, and not to be confused, like people keep wanting to compare it with Scream just because it's the same producers doesn't mean it's going to be in the same vein. So I think, if you I hope it's not one of those things where you go in expecting like something very Scream in tone and you get something very different because I'm like, well, then why even mention that? You know what I mean? I guess to get asses in seats, but
Yeah. And Aid's talking about the new Screams, not the old
yes.
Screams.
Yeah.
Because it even has the same actor in it, the really hot twin guy.
Cuba
He's
Gooding Jr.'s son. What's his name again?
Yeah.
Is it
He's
Mason?
hot.
Yeah, Mason was
Mason,
his name in Scream, I think, wasn't it?
Let's see.
was it?
Cuba.
Yeah. It's I can do that little cross line where you don't know people by their character, not really by their name.
I don't do that. I live in reality.
Oh, Mason Gooding. That is his name.
Yeah, Mason Gooding. So he's in it. I thought the girl was Deb Ryan, but I don't think it's her. And that sucks. I really like her, but I think she might be a little. Oh no, she looks about the same age. But yeah,
Let's see.
I'm excited to watch it. Um, I
Oh,
They
did.
both
Olivia Holt is the girl.
Yeah.
definitely both did a good job. They narrowed like nailed the vibe that they were trying to accomplish, I think.
That's
Okay.
good. Yeah, thanks, Lance. So uh I
I didn't spoil anything for you two and also our audience. So it's like one of those things where I'm like,
I
what do
mean,
I
you
say?
could have just
How
not
say?
said anything at all. So,
Oh my gosh.
So funny story though, editing his video.
oh God.
God.
He goes at the end, he says, he's like, I don't really have anything to say, but I'm like, why would he say
Oh, he does
that?
that all the time. Just like he has nothing to say during our recordings until we're about to try to like leave the show. All of a
I know.
sudden, he thinks of everything.
That's like when you get off the phone with him, then he thinks of something new.
Oh my God.
That's
Speaking of being on the phone with him.
Oh my God. The life I live, folks, for you to deal with these two who love me so much.
it's a very Gen X thing though. It's a
Well,
very like because that they're like phone people, like they talk on the phone still, so that
yeah.
makes sense.
Well, Lance took me with him on his phone to the comic book store.
Oh, this is great.
And, Lance likes to do that thing where he talks to other people, even if you're physically there next to him. Uh, but it's worse when you're on the phone. And he's talking to the cash register guy about something, something, something. And all of a sudden, the audio goes blank or whatever. And I just hear Lance say, "Oh, that's weird. You moved to my phone, my watch. So, you can have a watch that you can talk through like a speaker." And so I had a moment of silence where I said, "It's now or never." And so I go, "Ah," and the phone just drops. And so immediately I text Aid and I'm like, Lance had me on the phone and I got transferred to his watch. And then I started moaning and he hung up on me because he was talking to the cashier guy.
And the cashier guy just goes like this. Like we're talking, then I noticed it, and then legitimately I got quiet, and then he starts doing it, and I knew he was doing it, and I heard it, I'm like, huh? And the cash register guy looks at me, and I'm like, click.
Yep. He hung
He
up
goes,
on me.
what's that? I go, oh, my friend taking advantage of the moment that it went from my phone to my watch. He goes, can't trust a friend like that. I'm like, nope.
Nope. Can't trust friends, can't trust farts. Um,
Facts.
they'll both
Oh,
shit on you.
I thought you did it when he was at Atomic. I go, yeah, while he's flirting with the girl at the front. Then
No.
There were only
She
guys
hears a
there.
man moaning.
Uh,
There were only men there, and they'd probably be okay with that. So
Mm.
there that was.
oh yeah, y'all still haven't taken me there. Interesting.
To
But
Atomic?
yeah,
We took you to Atomic.
we
Yeah.
didn't make it last time.
Oh, is that
I
the
could.
day that someone got in her little mood about us going to the?
Oh, mm-hmm.
Was that the day? The day so we couldn't
The
go anywhere without her?
You mean the woman that says, if there's no mimosas, don't even invite me? And we don't invite her, and the whole world got.
That was so funny too because like you didn't invite me. I go, we called you. You just weren't awake.
She wasn't awake, everybody. And then she said the day before, don't invite me if there's no mimosas. Or she sent a meme that said it. And there's literally no mimosas at this place. It was a very high fat, high calorie place. So I was like, she'll be fine if we go. And then that day, the sun got 5 degrees hotter and closer to Earth because boy, did we have it.
Okay, but that was a different incident. I could have sworn we went after Disney, the day after Disney.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Oh my God, what did we do that week? Anyway.
Well, there's always a next time.
Mm-hmm.
Which there might be actually sooner than later. Looks like Toxic Avenger, the remake, is getting a release date of Labor Day on the 2025. It's being put out by the subsidiary of Bloody Disgusting. Is it Cineverse?
Mhm.
That
Same people
brought you
as Terrifier.
Terrifier 3. That is. And yeah, I thought it was kind of cool. What did you guys think about that idea? I mean, are you excited? Not excited?
I'm excited because it is on a holiday weekend. I was like, oh, we should go visit Doug and Hyver to go watch it with them because I know it's going to be like a big thing for Doug, but I don't know if
Oh,
he's going to have time.
Well, yeah, that was my biggest thing I was excited for when Mikey mentioned that because I'm like, wouldn't that be cool if all of us got to go together?
Yeah.
So I don't
As
know.
much as
Maybe
we
we should.
hate traveling to LA.
It's and I love it when I'm there, but it's like getting there is always a fucking like a production. I don't know every time getting there, but I think it's because the flight is so long and I
Well,
drank too much on the plane, you
well,
know.
yeah. I don't mind the flight or the airport. It's always just getting around. It's great when we're at where we need to be, or like if we ever do Midsummer again, I want us to stay at the hotel.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, that we should probably discuss is looking into a hotel in Long Beach and then just staying there and staying out in Long Beach and not dealing with everything else.
The Queen Mary.
Yeah, and
Mm.
there's like shit to do there. And it looked like from where we were, there was a lot of things that we could just walk to.
Hmm.
So, which I enjoy because I
Yeah.
like to get
Nice.
my steps in.
In other news, looks like horror is getting noticed by the Oscars this year. We got a couple nominees for Nosferatu. I think they got four. They're nominated for Best Cinematography, Best Production Design, Best Makeup, and Hairstyling. And
Hmm.
then let's see, The Substance was nominated for 5 awards, which is going to be Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, Best Actress, Best Makeup and Hairstyling. And then I think it says, let's see, Alien Romulus got nailed for Best Virtual Effects or
Visual.
Visual effects. Sorry. Um,
Hmm.
which is kind of cool. And I guess if you hadn't known, or if you know now, it's going to be only 6 horror movies have ever been nominated for the Best Picture in the history of the Oscars, which would be, what were your guesses actually? Let's see. What do you think were the best horrors that would be nominated for Best Picture?
Oh, well, Jaws and The Exorcist, obviously,
They're on the list.
and The
Yeah,
Silence of
yeah,
the Lambs. Like I know that. I've always known that. So,
they're on the list. Mikey, what do you think?
Wait, what do I think is the one that the horror movies that have been nominated?
Yeah, have been nominated.
for Best
Oh,
Picture.
I think
Yeah,
The
Best Picture.
Exorcist was the first one.
Yeah, yeah, it's on there. I don't know exactly the number, but I
I
mean,
know there's not many, but I know Exorcist. I just know Exorcist.
okay. Well, in that case, then this is the order, or maybe not the order, but at least the way they said it on here was The Exorcist,
Mhm.
Jaws, Silence of the Lamb, The Sixth Sense, Black Swan, and Get Out. And
Okay.
then I guess Silence of the Lamb was the first horror movie to win Best Picture in 1992, and I guess that's like the first or the only. I'm not even really sure. They didn't really specify that, but I mean, do you feel like some of these are not horror movies though? I mean, like, can I know I do that a lot where I'd say these aren't horror movies because there's not a lot of blood or slashing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't believe I personally believe, as that US America lady said, um Sixth Sense, Silence of the Lambs, and Get Out, I believe, are dramatic thrillers. I don't think they're horror movies.
Mm.
I respectfully disagree.
Uh,
Shocking.
And also because I've been watching.
fear.
Okay, listen. Am I muted? Okay, no. All right. What I'm saying here is that those are all horror movies, so shut up. Okay. I mean, The Silence of the Lambs, obviously, somebody gets their face eaten off and then he wears the face around. How are you going to say that's not a horror movie? Now, Hannibal, I would say, has more of a horror tone to it. I would say of the three films, and I'm excluding Manhunter from this, everyone, because Brian Cox was our Hannibal, and I'm not talking about the series, but of the three, we have the Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal, Red Dragon. I would say that Hannibal is the most horror. However, don't come for my Silence of the Lambs because I don't have a death moth on me for nothing. And it is a horror movie. And I was just watching In Search of Darkness from 1990 to 1994. And then a whole segment on the fact that a lot of these films, especially in the 90s, were classified as thrillers so that people would take them seriously because the minute you slap horror on one of these movies, the whole fucking world's got to stick their nose up to it, which I think is just bullshit. But at the end of the day, yes, a lot of horror movies are thrilling. So what?
Okay, what about Black Swan though? I mean,
Black Swan's pretty scary,
Black
but what?
Swan's nightmarish, which is more, I
Black Swan is
feel.
very A24.
Yeah.
okay, all right, all right. All right, well, that's kind of pretty much what's going on with the Oscars. In other news, one of the big kind of drops coming up lately was the fact that some of the Scream Legacy characters that are coming back for Scream 7 have been confirmed. Matthew Lillard is reprising his role as Stu, or maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? He's confirming that he's coming back. So is he coming back as Stu? Is he not? And then also we have Scott Foley, who is returning from Scream 3 uh back into the franchise. He was it Roman Bridger? Is it right?
Yeah. Her
He
brother.
was the half
Mhm.
brother of Nev Campbell, who actually, spoiler for some reason, if you haven't seen Scream 3, is one of the killers and is actually killed off in Scream 3. So I would imagine he's coming back as a different character. How do you feel about some of the rumors from I feel like forever that Stu has always been alive and he never died in Scream 1? How do you guys feel about that?
Well, first of all, I wish they wouldn't have said announce Matthew Lillard. I think it's fun to announce Scott Foley because he's not. I mean, it's cool to get him back, but it's not like a oh my God.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, she shoots him in the chest a lot. Oh, he gets shot in the head, I think, doesn't he?
That's
Yeah.
kind of a Sydney Prescott thing. Is like she always goes for
Well,
the
because
head.
Stu doesn't get shot in the head, which is one of the reasons why I think it isn't so far-fetched to believe that he did survive. Or maybe he's like, it'd be cool if he did survive and he's in some sort of like ward where he's like in a wheelchair, like barely hanging on because he got electrocuted, like quite gnarly. So like it'd be cool if they do one of those things where they're trying to, they know maybe he might know some information, so they have to go visit him in the ward. Like that would be cool. What I don't want them to play different characters. That's really stupid. Um, I don't know how they're going to bring back Roman. Someone mentioned something about doing like a flashback or like, some sort of I don't remember, like a nightmare sequence. Maybe they're all the killers are there, whatever. It's kind of a waste of talent for me, but I don't know. Aid, go ahead.
No, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I think the best way to bring them all back would have been like Sydney's having still dreaming and having nightmares of them. Or maybe Sydney still sees them every now and again. But my thing is that with Roman, Again, I think it's fine to have announced him. I don't think it's fine that they announced Matthew Lillard because I think the surprise would have been more satisfying
Yeah,
when you
for sure.
walked in and you're like, there he is, and you were so happy about it. I don't like the fact that they're like, oh, we don't know they died because I think it's the same bullshit with that fucking Kirby, who I fucking hate. I'm like, first of all, I don't give a shit if she lived or died. Like she was a horrible character. Why do people? I don't understand what her fucking appeal was because like there was none. Oh yeah, she had short hair and she was edgy and she had quips. Like, oh, who fucking cares? Like you could make that with any character. My thing is that like bringing Stu back if he never died, it does make sense, but I kind of feel like it's an easy cop out. I feel like like if you were going to do that with a character, you should have done it with him initially and not with Kirby. And yet they did it with Kirby because for some reason we needed fucking Kirby. I have no idea why. And I'm over it. I'm over it because like even all these new ones, like how many times are we going to kill Dewey and then he doesn't die? And then we finally kill him, spoiler alert, which is fine because Dewey had to go.
Hmm?
And then that would they just do that with the twin, the hot one. Like what? Just kill
No,
somebody. Like, why
wasn't
are you
there
afraid to kill somebody and let them die? I don't understand it.
wasn't the rumor recently, which is that those two movies previous were just actual movies, like they're trying to do almost like
Film
the
within the
the
film.
stab type
Yeah.
scenario.
Yeah.
7 is going to be the reaction to those being actual movies in a theater type deal. And then the idea that Stu, which I think I kind of like what you were saying there, Mikey, because like I kind of like the idea that maybe he is an award and someone's listening to him and like he has like an acolyte or you know what I mean? Like he's convinced some other people to go after Sydney from his, a crypt, abode in the,
His
aside.
cell.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. I mean, like maybe he's there and people didn't know it and he got away. You know what I mean? Kind of deal.
Lance is like he's tucked away in Arkham Asylum with
I
the Riddler.
know. He's in
Well,
a
yeah,
mausoleum somewhere.
I want
Um,
and then maybe it's Scott Foley's kid who he convinced to do it, and that's why you get maybe flashbacks of his dad talking to him about killing, his stepsister, or whatever. I don't know. Like, I mean, but you could have all those little things. I mean, that'd be kind of fun. I mean, if you pull it off and you do it in the right way. But otherwise, I mean, yeah, it seems weird. I mean, who are you gonna make him be? And
yeah.
is he the twin brother of his twin brother type deal? Like, it's like,
it
I don't know. It's turning into a soap opera at this point.
yeah,
it really is, and I think
I
a
think they're
flashback would
just
be the most effective.
I think they're just bringing in as many people as they can because they're trying to distance the whole drama with Free Palestine
they're definitely saving
controversy.
themselves. Like they're like, hey, let's just throw on every legacy thing we can do, and everybody's gonna want to go because we have a billion legacies in here, and let's see what we've come up with. And even if it's shit, you still have legacy characters and people in there, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, but not for nothing. Those movies weren't good though. So, I would say that Scream 5 was decent. Like I enjoyed that one, but the other two after that fucking sucked. And so, we need to Scream was so great because it was so self-aware and so meta at the time. And now I feel like it's more overt and that the characters are just annoying and then we just don't kill them. Like, why are we afraid to kill these people off? I don't understand it. Like,
Yeah.
I remember watching all the like a documentary or whatever, somebody commenting about it because killing off Randy in Scream 2 was such a fucking like shock to people
Yeah.
and everybody was pissed. And it's like, I guess they're afraid of doing that now. But no, I mean, the fact that nobody's safe makes it even better and it makes it the stakes even higher. And not for nothing, but I didn't give a fuck about Jenna Ortega and her fucking sister. I don't care. Oh, the sister's Billy Loomis's daughter. So now we have to arbitrarily bring his ass back in. Like, I don't mind looking at him, but I feel like we're doing Billy a disservice here by just bringing him in some fucking ghost that talks to her. Like, are you serious? Are
No.
we doing this? Like, no. Billy Loomis deserves better. Justice for Billy.
I wonder if he'll return. But anyways, well, we'll see what happens. Scream 7 coming
I don't,
soon.
I don't know why I'm so angry. I'm sorry, everybody.
it's a rant right there. Jesus.
I did. I was so mad. I just like because you know what they could Scream like when we talked about this before. Scream is really near and dear to my heart because you know Scream is the franchise that Mikey and I grew up on. You know, like that's the franchise that you know we as kids like you know so many people who grew up in the 80s. You know, Freddy's their person or Jason's their person, but like for us, it is Ghostface. And
Mm.
I feel bad seeing where it's going, but maybe in another 10 years that, you know, they'll find a way to defend these movies. Like people still defend Freddy's dead. So we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Anyways, well,
Mhm.
speaking of movies that, yeah, speaking of movies that need defending, today we are here to sort of review slash shit on 2020, 1920s Cupid. Um, I wanted to, when we were talking about Valentine's Day type movies or just like movies to review in the month of February, I was like, you know what, let's review this one because in the credits, it's directed and written by, I believe, Scott Edwards. Is that his name?
Got
However,
Jeffrey.
Scott Jeffrey. However, Scott Jeffrey is an alias for Scott Chambers. Do we know who Scott Chambers is, everybody?
No, Mikey, tell us.
Scott
Mhm.
Chambers is the creator of the Pooniverse.
Oh
So,
shit.
this is the man that is bringing you Blood and Honey 2,
Mm.
Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, the future Blood and Honey 3, and all of those movies. So I just
Hmm.
kind of wanted to see where he started from before he got to the, because I think Blood and Honey 2 is probably his turning point for making better films. But I think he did Blood and Honey 1. Let me confirm.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I think he was just a
looking.
producer.
Okay, yeah, because it says more recently, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey has gone viral with the cinema release in over 1,500 scenes in the U.S. Scott has now focused his attention on quality movies and has a vision for a multiverse with some coming known characters.
Yeah. So the first Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey was made by someone I believe named Reese Frake Waterfield. Scott Chambers, I believe, was a producer on it, and then he ended up kind of taking over and from two until now with his whole thing. So I
Mm,
really like him. You know, we had a director spotlight for Damian McCarthy last month. And
hmm
so it kind of made me want to be like, oh, well, let's, I talked a lot last month about Peter Pan and Blood and Honey too. So I will do my own special little spotlight and we'll do Cupid. And let's just say Cupid was stupid. Um, so if you've seen Tamra, you've seen this movie, basically. Do y'all remember Tamra?
I do. Was it Tamara or Tamara? I can't remember how to say her name.
They called her Tamra in the movie.
Okay.
I
Mm.
I
think
do remember
Tamara's
that
the
one.
black girl version. Um, but just saying, was that not PC? um,
You sat and thought about it for a second. You're like,
Excuse you, Mikey. That's Tamara.
I
Amar?
don't know. But either way, um, so the film is about so the main characters we were talking about is Faye. She's a witch girl, high schooler
Mm,
who is in love with her professor, and we'll just call him the professor. And then there's her rival bully, Elise, and she does a terrible prank, literally the exact same movie as Tamara. In Tamara, they set her up to make like a basically a sex tape with somebody and they release it in front of everybody. In this movie, they set it up to where they make her think that her hot professor's in love with her. And so they send like a fake note. She goes to the professor and she advances on him and she gives him a little kissy kiss and he's like, whoa. And they recorded it and then they release it, whatever. And so she's so mad. She does this little spell to call forth Cupid to make sure that her classmates never find love again. And I guess Cupid's like, you know who doesn't fall in love? Dead bitches. So I'm gonna kill them. Um, Cupid's a small little skinny Asian boy with some chanclas.
like someone we know.
Dang. Actually, I should see if it's the same person.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
with the
But
little man bun.
the question though, out of curiosity though, doesn't she technically like? have a demon come, like there's a certain demon, and then the demon makes Cupid come after him? Because it seemed like there was two different people that I
Are you
noticed.
talking about the end? The ending was death. I don't know how he got there.
Well, no, yeah, but he was there when she actually we get introduced to Cupid just coming in and whatnot in the beginning of the movie, for like the first kind of like introduction to him. But like later on when she's doing her magical spells
Hmm.
and incantations, that some devil thing like put like how he like wrapped his hand around
Oh
her neck.
yeah,
It was weird. It was like, okay.
they wanted to show the finger prosthetics.
Yeah, I guess so. They
You know,
wanted
they look like those little paper things you used to make on your fingers, but painted black. Because you
Yes.
That's
could even see the
probably what they did.
creases. Yeah. Hey, good
Uh,
for y'all. But you know what? I will say a positive of this movie is they tried. Um,
The voice was good for the guy whoever did the demon.
yeah,
Like that
everything,
was decent.
the quality of the film. Well, let me finish. So basically, this bitch summons Death. Death is like, there's a price to pay for this. And she's like, I know. And then Cupid comes and kills people. We have like a 20-minute illustrated, which is funny actually, because that's how Winnie the Pooh 1 and 2 and Peter Pan start off with an illustrated storytelling.
but it was quick and to the point. So I think
Yeah.
that
Also makes
we're
more point
Someone
to have
told
it.
him. Someone told him. It was like, hey, let's cut these
let's
down.
speed it up, sir.
Hey, bigger and better is where he is now. So we're talking about
Hmm.
his past mistakes. But and I was telling Ada earlier, I was like, that was actually probably my favorite part of the movie because I was like, oh, history lesson about Roman gods and goddesses. And, I didn't know who Cupid's parents were. So cool. Party.
Hmm.
And then, Cupid comes and kills people. So I wasn't going to bring up the beginning because I had no idea what the fuck was going on.
Oh, yeah.
The
Like
openings.
Some
stepdaughter.
sugar daddy is
It was
with
funny.
some girl, I don't know. This other girl, the same age as her, shows up and starts calling him daddy, and he's like, I don't know. And then Cupid comes and kills all of them. So
Well, he had left her mother, and I guess she was the stepdaughter, even though she said daddy in the beginning
yeah,
when she comes up to him. So I guess she asked the demon to bring Cupid to murder the dad or something like that. And because supposedly she cheated, and he's like, "Oh no, it was mutual. We both left each other because we wanted to." And but her mom was all depressed or whatever, and that's why they were there. But at the same time, the lady was trying to get away from the other guy. I think they were on a speed date or a date.
yeah, he was a sleaze. Well, thank you, Lance, for paying attention. So
Mm.
yeah, and go ahead, Abe.
Well, and that's my thing is that, the writing is just so bad. I
Hmm.
like the plot itself is fine. Like we could do something with this. But the dialogue between the characters is so forced. I mean, I don't know if it's the acting, I don't know if it's the pacing or the cinematography, I don't know what it was. But just that beginning, I was so like, oh my fucking God. And I'm gonna just watch this whole movie now. And it was really rough to get in. So if you can get through the beginning and you're good with it, then you'll be fine with Cupid.
Yeah, this is the way I had to approach it because after that intro, I was like, okay, I know what I'm in for because this is like when I was a kid and I would wake up and couldn't sleep and I put on sci-fi and they had their original movies. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Um, because sometimes sci-fi made a bunch of those monster and alien movies, but sometimes sci-fi would make a slasher type movie, and that was the vibes I was getting.
Hmm.
Um, Cupid himself, he's CGI when he's flying, of course, because obviously they couldn't afford to make it look real because that's a lot. It's expensive, Scott. I'm not faulting you for that. Um,
Sci-Fi Channel, basically.
yeah, Sci-Fi Channel CGI, Adobe Photoshop, but
Like it was straight up that too, because you're like, oh,
I know. But when he was actually practical in person, I could see what they were going for. As these filming shoots go on after a certain amount of hours, the makeup wears, and you're probably like not really thinking about doing touch-ups when you're this low budget and you're on a rush and stuff. And so there's times where I'm like, okay, I can see what they're trying to do, but then there's other times where I'm like, that spirit gum's coming up, honey. And so, but the biggest catalyst to all this, and Aid was commenting on the writing. I don't know, she doesn't know if it was the writing or the acting. Honestly, I have never seen such a large group of bad actors in my life. The only person I liked in this movie was someone I should have hated, but it was because she was the best actress, and it was the bully.
Yeah,
Oh, she was.
she was
Yeah.
great. She was
And
the
Yeah.
only one who could act.
yeah.
Like legitimately the only one who could act. So when she was on screen, I was paying attention.
Yeah.
Um,
Which made you
and
hate her a little bit more.
hats
I
off to
liked her.
her. Yeah, no, I mean,
Well,
and
no, I
that's
mean,
the
like, hated
thing.
her character, like, which is what she's trying to do.
No?
Well, I figured it's a YouTuber.
Sarah T. Cohen deserves a fucking Oscar just to get that movie going. My God.
Ooh, jeez.
This was also interesting because I know Scott Edwards is in Europe, I believe. I don't know, maybe England. But there were some Americans in this movie. The bully was American. The principal was American.
Yeah,
Um,
I was confused because I didn't know where it was set because some people had accents and some people didn't, and some people
yeah,
had weird accents, like the guy at the beginning. So
I
I'm
thought it
like,
was Australia.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't know where any of this
Mm.
was taking place. But if Scott Chambers obviously is the person, then I would assume UK, right, Mikey? But I couldn't
yeah.
find anything about it.
Well, just another mystery. Um, so the first time my ears peaked up was the professor's cute, but his bad acting. He's hot. Let me rephrase. But his bad acting was a little cringy.
Yeah.
What about the other teacher, the blonde?
Oh God, don't even get me started.
And that's the thing is that this movie could have been way better had they cut so much out of it. There was just so much unnecessary talking. And I don't know why. And as a teacher, it's bullshit. Like you wrote this movie not knowing anything about a school system. Like he would never go and first of all, if the girl had gum in her hair, another teacher isn't going to go find him and be like, oh, your student's got gum in her hair. And he's not going to go in the girl's bathroom to help her.
Yeah,
Like, that would never in a million fucking years happen. Like, if she had gum in her hair, it wouldn't even be an issue.
it's
Like
her issue.
nobody would, like, honestly, it wouldn't even be, this wouldn't be a huge thing. Like, maybe one of the girl teachers will go and help her, or like maybe the nurse will go in there and be like, hey, do you need, whatever, should we cut it out? But like, she just had, and first of all, who the fuck puts gum in their hair in high school? The girls are way worse. That is not something they would do.
Yeah, you
Yes, way
dip your
too.
tampon in Cholula sauce and put it back in the bag.
God. I literally thought he was trying to burn the gum out of her hair with his cigarette initially when later in that scene. I guess he was like the boy smoking in the bathroom.
And I thought he was gay, and then all of a sudden he's in love with her. Like, what the fuck is going on in this goddamn
Yeah,
movie?
because he was like, "Oh, you're in love with the teacher. I'm in love with the teacher. I'd go gay for the teacher." And I was like, "I think you are gay."
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that threw me off.
And then at the end, this is my oh my God. And everyone, if you want to know the caliber of writing in this movie, she was like, you spooned me on purpose? He's like, yes, I always spooned you on purpose.
hmm,
I just had to lie about it because I didn't want my mom to say anything, but I spooned you because I was in love with you. And I'm like, what the fuck? Who says this?
oh, Europe.
And they
I mean,
kept saying spoon over and over.
did any of you actually have a favorite kill scene? I mean, and then when I say favorite, I mean really more like hysterical
So
of the concept of it.
do you know like the best times are when people would get hit by the arrow, but the arrow was so horribly stuck like into the
Oh,
prosthetic that it would be like a
like a
waving
Looney Tunes, like the door stopper when you kick it. No,
Uh,
I actually, because I thought about that too. The only death scene that I was like, okay, that's stupid, but like at least there's some creativity was the roses down the throat, coming out of the throat in the front, even though they were like completely off.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, but visually it was okay, but also I felt like they needed a better colorist because considering this is a Valentine's Day movie about a Valentine's Day dance, it should be more vibrant. The red should be popping out a lot more. I don't know if they got it colored because raw footage is just very muted and it seemed very like not touched up color wise.
You didn't like the green light
Mm.
that was in there when they were in the laboratory or wherever they were, like where the boyfriend was like dying of
The hot
black
boyfriend.
poisoning. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
thanks for throwing in some hot guys because the boyfriend's hot and he takes his shirt off. Thank you for mentioning that. The principal, he could have gotten it too.
The principal
Um,
was hot. Yeah.
yeah.
Adrian Boucher, that was his name.
hmm
Mm.
Boucher.
When he was
Mm.
like, "Get out of the car," I was like, "Yes, sir." Um,
The other good actor of the movie.
I mean, he wasn't bad. He just didn't really have much to do. But
Yeah, yeah.
also, I hate this is the same issue that I had with what was the Panda? Oh, Pandemonium. Um, Everyone died the same. The Cupid shoots him in the face or stabs him in the face with the arrow. Okay.
Yeah.
Except for the girl with the roses, which is probably why that was the one standout. Um,
I would gladly watch Pandemonium 3, 4 more times before I ever have to look at this movie again.
I'll remember that. Um,
The one visual look that looked kind of cool was the one where the older lady gets it, and she
oh,
was like the one actually saying like "fuck you, fuck you." Like I was like, damn, she got all cursy real quick.
yeah. That's what's your teacher's friend's name?
Who? Miss Abel?
Yeah, that's Miss Fable.
Poor Miss Abel, bless it. You know what? That would be Miss Abel. How
That
funny.
was so.
Miss
You didn't even
Abel
worry
was
about that so much.
able to throw them bars down. Um, it wasn't. It was pretty bad. I wouldn't say it was the worst thing I've ever seen, but it was bad in a sci-fi presents type of way. They
Mm.
tried. There is a little bit of a story. The acting was bad. It wasn't cringeworthy though. It was just kind of like
It
a
was
chuckle.
cringe. Remember when she walks into her house and her mom is fucking for no reason?
Oh
Like,
yeah, her mom that's like
what?
2 years older than her.
Yeah, her
I
mom is
thought it
like
was a
her age.
roommate.
Okay, so I don't know if you all noticed this, but at some point they say it, and you are basically led into the idea of why the other girl is so mean to her is because her mom is fucking her dad, and her dad cheated with her mom, and that's why the bully girl hates her. There's a moment
Yeah.
where she actually says that, and so I'm assuming that's the dad. And I don't know, maybe there's stuff for this movie they didn't get in because it didn't make any sense to.
Well, they spent fucking 20 fucking minutes on every goddamn thing, but that was
But
the
the
only
story.
interesting tea, and I didn't even catch it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because she says at the end, she's like, I wouldn't be fucking mean to you if it wasn't the fact your mom fucked my dad and da 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 da. And I'm like going, oh,
Okay, Billy Loomis.
Ooh.
yeah, exactly. To bring it back around.
I
I mean,
know.
if they had just cut the movie down, like even the prank, so the prank that they do on her, they take so long to get there. Just do it. Like all you need to do is set up that they're mean to her. The girl has a stupid crush on her teacher. We know this. Let's steal the phone. Let's do it. Like just get there. Like what the fuck? Like I kept looking at my watch. Like why is this movie still on? Like we're not even at the part where I know they're going to bully her. Like what is happening? So.
Well, my favorite part is when Cupid comes into their little cafeteria where they're setting up and shoots somebody, and they're all freaking out and they disperse. And the girl who got killed with the roses, I think her name is Britt. She's running out, and they're like, Britt, be careful. She runs out of the cafeteria, but then comes back in and stands in front of the door like this. And like Cupid like has his arrow pointed at her. I'm like, why did you come back in here? Like, and she stands there for a second and then she sees Cupid and then she runs out again. I'm like, bitch, you're already outside. And I think they were like, wait, you're not supposed to leave yet because we're supposed to build up tension that he's going to shoot you. And they just like kept it all in. Um,
They forgot to cut.
yeah. So I thought that was hilarious. But there's also a line at the end that I was like, how meta. The blonde teacher, she said, because, they have to wait till Valentine's Day's over before the curse breaks, of course. And I guess it's almost midnight. And she was like, we're fucked. It's almost over. And I was like, girl, same. That's how I feel. And I had like
Well,
7 minutes left of the movie.
I mean, my favorite thing is the most gross part of this whole movie wasn't even a kill. It was basically them cutting that guy's arm off so the poison wouldn't go further on
Oh
to
my
kill him.
God.
And the fact that like the teachers, both teachers, are getting blood squirted in their face, and you could visually tell there's somebody on the side of the camera just going
Hmm?
squeezing
Yep.
it off into their face, like because their face is like, uh.
And see, and
So,
that's why I think those things could have worked. And I was talking with Mikey about this before we started recording. I feel like this was written as a horror comedy, but it was taking itself seriously. I think it could have worked as a horror comedy had we just kind of sped it up a little bit. Because like those kinds of effects would work better in a horror comedy.
well,
Because then
yeah.
you'd be laughing and then
Yeah.
you'd be with it. But by it taking itself too seriously and these actors just doing a terrible job, and I don't know again, I don't know if I mean, I know Mikey said they're horrible, but I don't know if they're necessarily horrible or if it's just like the material that they have. I don't know, but I'm not an actress. Okay. I know it's not easy because doing what little projects I've done with Mikey and shooting a dinner scene all day was a very trying moment for me. And I'm like, I don't know how the fuck people do this. Like, I know
Hmm.
it's not easy. So I'm not saying I give everybody props and I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on this movie because I give you props for what you did. I'm glad that you made it. Um, here are my notes. That's all I
Right.
have to say. But I don't know. Did you guys feel that way or no?
Hmm. I don't know. Actually, let me see if this was. I want to see how many movies he made before this. Because it makes sense for him to have taken this seriously and it come off that way if this was like one of his first couple of movies. But if he made a couple movies before this, then maybe he like was trying to purposely do like a funny but let's take it seriously thing. Because I always say if you're gonna make a horror comedy and the comedy's coming off of like being campy and cheesy, then don't try to be funny. Let it happen naturally.
Hmm.
Um,
Because the effect the bad effects it would feel like it was on purpose, right? And then it
yeah,
would feel seamless and natural and it would work. But because it doesn't, I don't feel like it works.
yeah. This was his fifth movie, so mm,
Well, and that's my
It's
thing,
sort of elevated for him. You know what I mean? Like that's what I mean. This could be an upgrade from what he was doing previous to this. I mean, for all we know, we're talking about like almost home films previous to this. So for him, he's probably got a little bit more of a budget. Somebody's actually believes in him a little bit more. So, I mean,
Well, also too, if he wrote and directed it, and he did both, we always say this, writers and directors don't want to cut anything, like if they're the same person. So they're
yeah,
gonna keep everything in instead of just, okay, let's give this to someone else and let someone else use their judgment to cut out what needs to be cut out. Which is why, for example, Lance's video, like we were talking about earlier. I'm glad he made it. Thank you. I appreciate you. But now that I'm looking at it through a fresh lens, I'm going to fix it. So
yeah.
like that, but that's what you have to do. You have to delegate I mean, you can't do everything on your own and expect it to be perfect because your
also,
vision is subjective.
but yeah, and that's the thing is maybe that's why he was only a producer for Blood and Honey for the first time. Maybe he wanted to see a different director do things and see if he could learn something. I mean, you know what I mean? Because everybody has to kind of like step back and go, "Hey, I might not be perfect, like you're saying.
Yeah.
I might need to learn something from somebody else." And maybe he decided to do a fresh perspective of it by saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to produce this,
Well,
see
Yeah.
he
what
is a
it's."
little cutie pie too. Sorry.
Yeah, he's the actor from part two. He's the main, he acts in part Honey Blood and Honey 2, and he's cute. And he's a good actor too. Because I think he acted first. But also, I think maybe he's kind of like me, where like, it was very trying filming that scene in Noelia at the dinner scene because my partner was a perfectionist. And for me, I'm like, it doesn't have to be perfect, it has to be passable. And you mentioned when you were reading about him that now that he has a more of a budget, he's focusing more on the quality, which is why things are improving. So maybe he just knew his limits and was like, we're not going to get any better than this guy, so let's keep going. Uh,
Yeah.
because he did make a movie one of his movies that I have seen from his uh, resume here is Humpty Dumpty what's it called? The Curse of Humpty Dumpty. And that's actually decent. I didn't like the way it ended, but everything leading up to it is pretty decent and it's actually kind of creepy. Um, so he, and that was only like I think 3 movies after this one. So I think it just comes down to like how much
He's
time
really
y'all
into
have.
fairy tales, isn't he?
Well, the movies that he's done is Kingdom of the Dinosaurs. Uh, he kind of goes after like famous um, trends. Like he did Exorcist Vengeance. He did Conjuring the Genie. uh,
Eh.
Wishmaster, what?
he did Don't Speak, which looks like a different version of The Quiet Place.
Mm.
Um,
He had something to do with Malevolent. What is this?
the Disney one.
No, Malevolent with Lawrence or whatever. Florence Pugh, whatever the hell her name is. Is that how you say her
Pew
name? Pugh? Yeah.
pew pew.
It had something to do with it. I don't know. I'm just looking now. But I don't know. I think he's fine. I think he would work well if he was in the full moon or trauma universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Especially now with what he's doing, and he's even better.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, more full moon. I feel like he's more full moon.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
You
So,
know, and the thing too is that what I liked about old school stuff like that, like maybe he's in that same mindset as Trauma, and like you're saying, like just putting out more product is better than, and you'll slowly get better, and more people will decide to like put more money behind you. It's kind of like very punk in the sense of how like a lot of punk bands will do that, where like they'll just put out records of how they can do it, you know what I mean, and then slowly they get more money, and then you finally, you know, you get your niche of what you're trying to do, and then you know what you want, and then you just try to get better at your craft, you know,
oh,
at
are,
that
are
point.
you looking for producers, Lance?
No.
Anyway, well, I think listen, I hate to shit on an independent film because I'm happy that it's here. So that, there are some good things about it. And I think that, if we had to redo something like this, I think Cupid would be a great killer. So maybe Mr. Chambers would like to revisit this someday and clean up his mess. Anyway,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Final thought.
also oh, go ahead, Lance.
No, I was like, was that your final thought on this?
I guess
'Cause it seemed-
those were Jerry's final thoughts.
She's like, I will not be commenting further on this topic.
it's like a no. I mean, I like we all said. I mean, it seemed like the premise was there. You know what I mean? It just probably budget, you know, and then the writing definitely needed to be better. Actors, again. I mean, that's a really weird thing you got to always look into is it the writing, and he wanted exactly the way that it sounded. You know what I mean? Because then you don't have any room to like kind of like emphasize things or be a little bit better. But I mean, again, the bully character, the girl,
Mm-hmm.
she didn't do bad. You mean you're like, okay, why is she doing better than the rest of you? You know what I mean? And the only time she kind of sucked was because she had nothing to play off of.
Yeah.
You know? So like, so again, yeah. I mean, not horrible. I mean, if you got yourself watching this, you're probably gonna turn it off about halfway in. Probably, if you didn't have to watch it, like we had to watch it, and then
I
think
I
it was,
don't think anybody would make it past the story time.
yeah, it's an hour and 20 minutes, right, or something
Yeah,
like that.
it's pretty.
Felt like 4 hours. It felt like the month of January.
Okay, well now Abe's just being dramatic as per usual. If you were into the film sci-fi was releasing in the 2000s, then you'll probably like it. So
Yeah.
it was fine for me. It wasn't super long. I saw it in two sections because even when I was watching it last night, when I started it last night and I paused, I was like, let me see how much longer I had. I only had like 45 minutes. I was like, oh, I can finish that in the morning. So, well, that's a wrap on this week's episode, everybody. If you want to see our lovely faces while we ramble and figure out what Lance's word of the week is, check out our video cast over at youtube.com/slashespodcast. Plus, don't miss our bi-monthly deep dive into all things horror nerdy on the Comic Chop, only on YouTube, a hot collab with Slashers Podcast and Much Ado About Nerding. If you want exclusive content or you just can't get enough of us, join us on Patreon for monthly exclusive reviews, bonus episodes, and some killer new perks. Head over to patreon.com/slasherspod and become part of the band. We just did an episode on the front room, which was pretty good, so join it if you want to hear that. Want to be a part of our street team? Want to rock some Slasher swag? Our merch is available on Redbubble. Wear your support loud and proud at slasherspod.redbubble.com. Or if you like our new Slashers t-shirt that just says Slashers Pod in the vein of a VHS tape, message me directly and we'll set something up. We're hanging out over at Instagram, SlashersPod, for everything podcast related, Mutant Goons from Beyond for all things weird and wonderful. If you want to yell at us directly, you can find us on social media, Aid at Pathologically ADE, me at Horror and Half Shell, or Lance at Zombie BS Hate. And if you can't figure out the devil box known as Instagram, then find us on Facebook. Come chill in the Mutant Goons from Beyond Facebook group for all the chaos. Shout out to our B Movie TV family. Catch Doug and Yahira on B Movie TV. Doug is on Friday Night Action and Yahira is on Saturday Night Terrors, only on Roku. A big thanks to our amazing Patreon members, Josh Gunn, Dinosaurs Will Always Be Awesome, Laureen Ellis, my mom, Kevin Leamy, Vladimir Luis, Leslie Thurman, and Cam. If you want to join them, head over to patreon.com/slasherspod and become part of the family. And as always, thank you guys for listening. Stay spooky. Keep the red light on. It's Valentine's Day month. Even if you don't have anybody to celebrate it with yourself, with some nice, I don't know, Lance, what is it called that you masturbate with?
Ambiance?
Oh, horrible porn?
Lubricant. Anyways.
Yeah.
I like it was like ambiance and horrible porn and lube.
That's the ambiance in itself. So we'll be back next week, folks, with a review about an island that has a werewolf on it, and it must die. Lance will be hosting that one, so buckle up your seatbelts and make sure you get really high beforehand.
Well, it's too bad that he cut his beard off because now he can't look like a werewolf.
I look more like a werewolf now than I would
No.
then. Also, just so that
No.
you'll, I finally guilted my mother into maybe being a Patreon fan.
Oh, yay. Thank you, Lance, for your efforts.
Yeah. Well, I had to basically just use AIDS mom. I was like, AIDS mom's still a Patreon fan.
Oh my God. So our mothers are producing our show. Yay. Now all we need is a basement and,
Ooh.
tears.
Well, if you're still here after that sad story, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Goodbye.
Die.
Good.